Hello, it is me, We Anime, and I'm here to bring you part 8? Yeah, 8. Of What If Naofumi Was the Legendary Bow Staff Hero? Now, this is the first arc in season 3. So there's 3 more episodes of this, and I believe 3 more episodes of the other 2 What Ifs I'm currently on. I believe so. Okay. Yeah, because Black Clover, the Ostota has 3 more. Midoriya, Deku has, I believe, also 3 more. Yeah, Endeavor's Agency, and then okay, yeah. They all have 3 left, which is the craziest thing ever. Like that is the first time they've like that is perfectly like came to be. I do plan on extending them by 1 more part. Not this time. I'm gonna try to extend them 1 more part next, like the next What If, along with the Tanjiro What If that I will be doing after this one is done. So 3 weeks. Actually, this up and coming week will be well the second. Yeah, 3 more parts. Either way, 3 more parts of these. Yeah, I will be going out into the season 4 of the Shield Hero. Don't you forget that. These will be longer than my first one. But it's also better than my first one. I can say that with full confidence. Now. But either way, sorry for being late. I have hunted. It's hunting season where I'm at, and I have been hunting. So yeah, that's why it's been off for the past 2 weeks. But now, starting this up and coming week, no mishaps unless I physically don't feel like recording. But I always do record, so you don't got anything to worry about. Wink. Anyways, let's get into it. Oh, first, let me get a drink of water and then we can get into it. I've totally forgot. Yeah, sorry. Let me get a drink of water and then we can get into this. We can see Naofumi and his party going through many battles. 3v3 battles, right? At this underground fighting arena to get money. Okay, that's what they're here for. So that can obtain the demi-human slaves that are kept here, right? But that's kept in a local, like, slave trader, right? So they can buy all of them and get them to their new home, this new village, right? And after many battles, Naofumi and his party would win. The entire thing, even though it does seem to be slightly rigged, but only very slightly. It's not very rigged, but it's certainly slightly rigged. Like it's clear, and the bidders would give. Yeah, it's how it works in canon, right? But either way, eventually getting the money and meeting with a new friend, Full, the White Tiger demi-human, along with his sister, younger sister Atla, who is also a White Tiger demi-human. Now we all know these people, of course we do. How couldn't you? You're a piece of garbage. You don't if you don't know these guys. Okay, you're just not nice. Mm. I don't know, man. I don't know. But either way, yes, these are the people. And after getting the rest, bringing them to the village, and they would be able to make a new home there. Some of them training in sword, some of them just building up the place and maintaining the gardens and doing all these different occupations around, right? Being a blacksmith. A mole demi-human is being a blacksmith, and with the help of Erhard, who had set up shop sometime before this, there, right? Um, yeah, doing this. Eventually, they would get word of the other heroes branching off and doing their own thing. Now, they have already tried to convince Motoyasu to come back and help the kingdom, but he escaped them by using his teleportation skill. While the rest of the people would split off into two groups. Group 1 would be Naofumi, Philo, no. Naofumi, Full, Atla, Eclair, and I'm trying to think. You know what? Let's just do that. And Raffi, yeah. While team 2, group 2, will be Sedina, Raftalia, Philo, Rishia, and oh god, yeah, those four. Those four are heading to the location of the bow hero, Itsuki. While the first group, Naofumi's group, is heading into a forest to find the sword hero, Rin. I forget his last name. But, right, you know what I mean. These two parties, um, I'm going to call it Raftalia's group, are being accompanied by Melty too. Okay, that's the person who I forgot. Yeah, they are also being accompanied by Melty, so it's five and now for me, full Atla, Eclair. That's four. I can't. I'm not good at counting. Right. I'm gonna also say oh god, Ragnarok, the last practitioner of the Hengen Muso arts, are also going to go with Naofumi's group. So it's 5 and 5. Okay. Now, these two groups would split off. Naofumi, we're going to focus on him. But I will say this. Raftalia's group does get it done. Okay? Just boom, splat. Um, we'll focus on Naofumi's group, though. Naofumi would be split off by himself, Raffi, the Shikigami from Kizuna's world, while the other four members are split off into two groups. Okay. Um, the groups would be Eclair and Atla, Full, and Ragnarok. Okay. Now, for me, we would be walking throughout this forest, just chill, just looking around, his bow staff in hand, but yet he's just walking around. Ha ha! Found you! A guy would jump out, sword in hand, raised up high above his head, aiming for Naofumi's shoulder area. Um, but Naofumi would turn around, just whack right across the head. This guy's head would turn to the side with a snap, and then he would fall, like slump. As then multiple other shadowed figures would appear around him. You could hear one say, "Wait, did he just? Was the one below? How? Let's all just jump him. He's one guy." Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, 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 yeah. All these people with either axes, hatchets, or swords would come running at Naofumi, just with a high pace, weapon in hand, ready to attack, to strike. Naofumi would say, "Yeah, whatever. Defensive wind guard." He would raise his hand high with his bow staff in hand and start spinning it. Like he would have his hand flat as it would spin on his hand. A torrent of wind would be around him in a dome-like shape with the staff below. So it's still spinning on his hand. And all these people's blades would just snap instantly as it would make contact with this defensive wind shield. Only a couple like swords and maybe one like battle axe would survive, but the smaller like hatchets or short swords, the long swords and battle axes that were made for like clashing against hard like steel and breaking through would survive. They may have been chipped a little bit, but they would still be good to use. While the other ones with like the short swords and hatchets, they would have a small portion just break off, and they would just throw the smaller weapons away and getting their main weapon off their back, either being a battle axe or a long sword. Naofumi would say, "So it was a test, huh? Okay." He would he would like stop the staff from spinning any longer, as he then would say, "Okay, let's play." He would switch to his rope staff, a long stick that at its ends are covered in rope. He would start spinning it, and he would swipe at one guy who would dodge, but he didn't really dodge. There would be a rope that would launch out and wrap around this guy's legs, and then Naofumi would lift up this, sending the guy into the air, as then Naofumi would spin around like in a circle, just on his heels spinning, and then you could this guy would collide with the other like half of the fighters and just knock them down, but not unconscious, just like send them down with a heap. As Naofumi would continue to spin, the other guys would dodge, and Naofumi would say, "Okay, you want to keep on dodging here." He would just wrap around, not wrap around. He would just keep on spinning and then just stop spinning as the guy on the rope would come around, and he would just slam his body into a tree. You could hear his ribs just crack, and this guy would make a guttural sound out of his like mouth as you would see him go. Uh, well, blood would come up, and then just he would splurt it out of his mouth. He would just lay there, just holding his side, his left side. Let's no right side would make sense, right? Just holding his right side. He's trying to control his breathing to help him not perish. Okay. One of the guys would come running and slide, grab him, and run back farther. There would be a faint green glow from this, and Naofumi would say, "So, you got a healer? Fun." Then he would grab two other people with the ropes by the legs and just start spinning him over his head, and then whack, whack. Same thing into the tree with such force that the trees they would be hitting would go crash down. One would even land on a guy, like crushing him underneath. As then there would still be four up that has not been hit by anything, who would all come running, jumping in air. Well, the guys with the axes would jump in the air. That would be like three of them. Okay, and then a guy with a long sword would be ready to just bring it through Naofumi's back. Naofumi would turn around, duck low, bring his the rope staff around as a rope would come like down low of like wrapping around this guy's like ankle, tripping him forward. His blade would go into the ground as Naofumi would be just like ducking under as all the guys with the axes would come down onto their friend. And then you could hear all the axes just embed themselves into this guy's just body. Like one would get into his shoulder, one into like it went straight through his spine, and one into like the back, like just rib area. Oh. They would all stare at Naofumi, who would say, "What? You're the guys who did it. Come forth, Dragon Tooth, staff. Merged staff, two-headed dog staff." Uh, on one side of the one tooth would like stretch out, getting two other like fangs, as then it would kind of like open up into a magical like swirling portal as two dog heads would just rip out of there, bite down onto two of the guys like neck area, and just swirl around. Like, have you ever seen a dog play with like a toy, like a dog toy, and you know how they just go just shake it violently? That's what the two dogs, like two dog heads, would be doing, just going, you know, just growling and enjoying their fun. These two guys would fall, holding their necks, um, trying to catch breath, but it's clearly hard to when you're choking on your own blood. But I don't know, done it before. Fun, okay. It's not fun. I I've had teeth knocked out of my head, and you know, oh, yeah, it's a long story. But either way, um, yeah, either way, the three guys that are who would rip their axes out. No, the one guy who would rip his axe out of the guy's like upper shoulder would just reach down, grab the blade out of the ground, and just would start running as he would then throw his axe at Naofumi, who would just block it, like turn his staff around as the dragon tooth would just knock the axe out of the air, and then Naofumi would turn around again, driving it like a spear into this guy's like abdomen. It would kind of like burst through, but it wouldn't go straight through. But yet Naofumi would bring him up like over his head and then drop him down on his back, like, and he would do a backflip, bouncing off his staff. The other end of the staff would go back into a dragon tooth as the healer and the other guy who was initially hurt, that way, that his entire side like kind of caved in, would also come running out with their weapons in hands. The guy who initially got hurt would come out with like a naginata, like Whitebeard's weapon, a long pole arm with a blade at the end. Coming out with that and just swinging it, Naofumi would duck under and then reach his leg up and stomp down on the weapon, breaking the blade like from the actual like pole arm. Then picking up the bladed side, just chucking it at the healer as it would go like into his leg. The healer would just drop in a heap and just would start like grabbing it at his leg and healing it as the best he could. As Naofumi then would bring the polearm that he could physically touch without it bursting out of his hand, and he would just grab it from him, spin it in the air, grab it at the not at the broken end, and just would chuck it, and it would spin in the air like a throwing knife, and then just embed itself into this guy's leg as well. He would like it would go straight through. A gaping hole would be left as Naofumi would then run up, jump up in the air, set his staff on the ground, bounce up like from it, like Sun Wukong in the Black Wukong like movie, not movie game, and just would like flip, bringing down his left heel into the top of this guy's head, knocking him out. Just as the healer just would just be there holding his leg, as Naofumi would say. So, you wouldn't mind telling me where possibly your boss is, the sword hero? What? Oh, yeah, master. He's in a cave that way. Please leave. We were just told to protect the area. So there's more of you? No! Not at all! We all, like, well, we had a scout who was scouting out, saw the one guy by himself with some type of animal. So we all just jumped him because we imagined you were the strongest one. I mean, thanks for the flattering me, but you're not wrong. But I mean, thank you. Yeah, I feel bad now. What? He would just get knocked out. Naofumi would just continue on his way. As he would walk out of like a into an open area with the cave, that was so to speak. Looking around, seeing nobody. Okay. Hey, Ralphie. Ralph! Go find the other two. They're probably together. Go find them. Bring them here. Ralph! Ralph! Okay. Ralphie would just jump off his shoulder and start sprinting into the wood line, forest line, running through finding two and bring him back here. But by the time they'd be back, Naofumi and Rin would already be clashing, just fighting. Um, Rin's blade would be taken over by the Sin of Greed in the Curse series, right? Naofumi would just have his Dragon Tooth staff. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, using that, blocking uh, over and over again. Naofumi would get a couple hits in, like across the head, knocking the mask off, like at the shoulder, like at the lower, like at the knee, and you could see it bend in a weird way. Now Ren would just falter for a second before lunging and cutting Naofumi like on the side of his arm. Yeah, I don't like that. And he would just bring up his staff, just whack in the back of the same knee he hit the first time. He would fall so hard on that knee onto a rock. Naofumi would say, mm, 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 mm. Well, Wukong finish! He would just yell this out and do the same type of move that he did earlier, where he would like slam the staff down, like jump up, and then bring his one of his heels, like straight into like the shoulder, or well, in this case, the head, knocking him out. Just boom. Whoa! Now for me, that was so cool. Can you teach that to me? Full would say. Um, maybe. Who's Wukong? Uh, well, you know, I'm one of the heroes that's been summoned here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're way too exciting. There's a myth called Sun Wukong in mythology. In a myth. Um, he uses a bow staff. Kind of cool. So I thought maybe that Wukong finish. Either way, we gotta tie this guy up and bring him back. He would bring out his rope staff and just tie him up. He would be like attached to the staff, and so he would now Fumi would put his staff to the back, and then uh like like kind of like a Nosuke in Demon Slayer when they're at the Nanagumo mountain, kind of like there, how he's just tied up, hanging like from the rope because of Gyu, kind of like that. Yeah. Now Femi would have the staff over his shoulder, and like there would be a rope around his body and legs, and he's kind of just hanging there, just knocked out. Now Femi's arm is still uh, a open wound, uh, but Eclair would bandage it before heading out. So it's wrapped in a bandage currently, but that's it until they could get back and actually have someone sew it up or heal it with healing magic. Which they would, because Melty, I don't like. No, Melty doesn't have healing magic. But either way, they would get someone to sew it up, and then someone with a decent amount of understanding with healing magic to use it. Right? Yeah, I believe that's it. Unless, hold on. Let me check the wiki. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba bum bum bum. Ba ba bum 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 bum. Bum da bum 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 bum. Bum da bum 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 bum. Oh yeah, they would meet Silent, the puppet, like marionette type figure, who's otherworldly. But yeah, that would be it. What's next? Well, we're going by light novel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's now. Next part will be the Wraith Dragon. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then Justice Arc. What may that be? Silk Belt. Okay. We'll get into. Yeah, we'll have to skip over the Justice Arc. Maybe. Yeah, because they've already dealt with him, technically. Yeah, we're heading back to the Wraith Dragon. So next part will be the Wraith Dragon fight and the well not and the but the Wraith Dragon will be next time, and then we'll get into season 4 finally with the last two parts. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all next time. Roll the dice. Hope to see you all next time. Roll the dice. You know what it I always say it, so go ahead. Bye.